Hi, I'm Sharon Winsmith, a tax attorney, active investor, and your go-to resource for proven investment and tax planning strategies. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can get on the fast track to achieving financial freedom. So it's important to understand that financial freedom is not just about how much money you have or how much money you make. It's really much more of a mindset. So you need to achieve that free mindset. And yes, money is a part of that because you have to have a certain amount of money to afford your lifestyle, but you were really looking at having ultimate freedom of your time. So that means you don't answer to a boss. It means you don't have to show up at an office every day. It means you have unlimited flexibility in your work and in your life so that you can afford to, but also have the time to and the flexibility to just do whatever you want. So that's the great thing I think about being financially free. It's not about going out and buying a yacht or, having the nicest car. It is more about waking up every morning and getting to decide what you're going to do that day. You have no outside pressure. You don't even have any clients. You definitely don't have any bosses. You only really answer to yourself. So that is what financial freedom is about. And it's really, there's been a big shift lately in mindset around how people think about working. People don't want to work at the same company for their entire life, have, bosses, work until they're 65, and then not be able to enjoy life until that point. We want to enjoy life sooner. We want to be able to go on trips. We want to be able to, do what we want from day to day. We want to be able to enjoy what we do every day. So that is really what financial freedom is all about. And I'm going to show you in this video how you should think about and adjust your mindset if you want to honestly, get real about getting on that track to financial freedom early in your life. So I just put together this really basic graphic. I think it could not be more basic than this, but this all comes down to your mindset. Do you want to be on the slow track? Do you want to be working till you're 65, saving money, not being able to spend, everything you want and go take those trips you want or, fly business class, then, you need to get on the fast track. If you're comfortable with your day-to-day job and, you're comfortable being a full-time employee and working for somebody else and, you're just trying to get by, then okay, stay on the slow track. That's great. But if you're watching this video because you want to be on the fast track to financial freedom, and I'm talking about getting there in your, 30s, 40s, 50s, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can get on the fast track and get there much more quickly than, if you're in this kind of lifetime approach to saving up enough money. So, like I said, this is really more of a mind shift and just how you think about, your life and your career and how you're going to set it up. So when we think about our job, so yes, we need, a way to make money. So when I say job, I mean our source of making money. How are we going to bring in money? The slow track, the old way of thinking about it, however you want to say, that was being a W-2 employee. I mean, I know my parents recommended I go work for a big company, which I used to do, for a large portion of my career. And that was, the so-called financial security, that could provide you by working in a big company. But now we know that's not right? We don't want to ever be a full-time employee for a number of reasons. It's tax inefficient. When you're an employee, you are never making the money that you're worth. You have to show up and do a thing to get paid. So there's just a cap on how much money you can make because it requires your time and your effort and you to show up somewhere. So, you're never going to be the one making the most money unless your name is on the door, unless you're the owner of the company. So that's why if you want to get serious about achieving financial freedom, you have got to think about business ownership. You are not going to get there, the vast majority of cases, unless you just strike it lucky. You are not going to get there unless you are doing that by owning a business of some sort. So that I think is the most fundamental shift you need to make. You need to transfer from thinking like, I'm going to go work at, as an employee at a company and work my way up the ladder and save money to I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to have my name on the door. I'm going to be the one that really profits from everybody else's work, not someone, having someone else profit from my labor. So you've got to make that fundamental shift. If you are not willing to do that or consider that, then you might as well, I think, give up, on getting to financial freedom at any early point in your life. So we have to think about target retirement age. I mean, we know everybody talks about 65. Well, I don't want to wait till I'm 65 to have fun. The people I know that are 65, we all have to slow down at some point. You're not going to be taking those wild trips, to very exotic places when you're 65 years old. Why wait, right? Who even knows if you're going to live to 65? So you want to take those trips. You want to do it when your kids are young. You want to spend time with your children. When you're 65, they're off to college or out on their own. So you want to do this when, you can make those memories and when they're the best, right? So that's why the fast track is retirement, as soon as possible. You can do this pretty quickly. If you're going to get to financial freedom, it's a product of how much money you have. It's not how much money you make. So, you can be making, $5 million a year working at a big law firm in Manhattan, but you're not financially free because you have to show up to work each day to keep getting that salary. So that is not financial freedom. It's not a product of your salary. It's a product of how much money you have. And the most efficient, quickest way to get big accretion of wealth or net worth is through, starting, buying, whatever, a business. So that's why you need to think about, I want to retire as soon as possible. That I don't understand why that's not everybody's goal. And retirement, it's important to define what retirement means. It doesn't mean sitting on the couch watching the news all day or watching Netflix. It means doing what you want. So I will never retire. I don't care if I live to be 80, 90, I am not going to retire. The idea of just giving up and never doing anything, I would always want some sort of business or entrepreneurial, venture going on. So I don't think of retirement as just hanging it all up. I think of it as just having ultimate freedom, over what I do. I don't work with clients anymore, so I didn't want that external time pressure. So I consider myself retired, but I'm always going to be doing something with businesses. I spend most of my day working on businesses, but it is my passion. It is what I love to do. So that's very different than when I had to wake up, go on the subway into an office in Manhattan and work with a lot of people who are very mean to me, doing a lot of stuff I hated doing that was really boring and I didn't see any purpose in it. And, just generally didn't like my day-to-day life. So that's very different. Tax bracket is very, very important. So that's a number, there's several reasons I think business ownership is much more preferred to W-2 employee. It's because, there's caps on the amount of money you can make as an employee, and businesses, if you can start the next great business and be a millionaire, once you put in the work pretty quickly with a business. But also it's more tax efficient. So salary income, that's the worst type of income that you can earn. So you could be, making $5 million as an attorney working in Manhattan, but you're probably only taking home about 2.5 million of that. So as a business owner, you should be able to get your taxes down to zero. It might not be zero for everyone sometimes. And I've had this happen. I mean, sometimes your business is just making too much profit and it happens really quickly and you weren't expecting it. So you didn't plan properly. So you are paying some tax, but it should be significantly less than 37% plus whatever state tax you're paying. So also when you think about, we talked about making money and how you bring in that money and how you get that kind of wealth accretion, but you also need to think about how you invest that money. So I think of, the two sides when I'm thinking about the money I need to be financially free. So one side here, which is what we've talked about, is how do I bring that money in? How do I build that net worth? And how do I do it tax efficiently? The other side is how do I invest that money in a way that I can live off those returns? So that is very important. That is just as important as making the money as how you're going to invest it, because you want to be living off of that investment income. That could, again, be investing into a business that you manage. It could be investing to real estate. It could be, whatever. Hopefully it's, a lot of different types of things and not just one thing. But the difference, I think, between, the slow track thinker to financial freedom and the fast track, and you can kind of put these all together, is, I think about someone on the slow track as, I'm working, 10, 12 hours a day. I'm making a big salary. I'm paying a lot of tax. I don't have time to manage my money. I don't have time to look into tax planning strategies. And most of them probably aren't available to me anyway, because I'm a W-2 employee. So I'm just going to hand that off. I'm just going to, trust it over to my financial advisor. He or she knows better than me. Let them invest my money. Let my CPA handle my taxes. Maybe I'll ask them, do you have any good tax planning ideas? They're going to say no, because I'm a W-2 employee. And my investments, because I'm using a financial advisor and I'm using a CPA who doesn't, handle that type of stuff, that's just going to be stocks and bonds, right? Returns are going to be very low. Your money that you are making, the amount you're saving after, you pay half your paycheck to Uncle Sam, that is going to be earning a very inefficient, low return if you're investing in stocks and bonds. And if you're using a financial advisor, there is a very large chance you are only investing in stocks and bonds. If you're investing in real estate, it's through REITs, which is not the same thing at all as owning real estate directly or investing through a real estate fund. So, you can basically think of that as just stocks and bonds. So that's really the hands-off approach. And I'm not judging people who do that. When I worked at a company, a very large company, I had a financial advisor. I didn't know what I was doing at first. I thought I was just doing, what I was taught by my parents. So I'm not judging people who do that. I had no time. I was not going to come home, miserable after getting yelled at for something that wasn't my fault or whatever, a rude client, and sit here and look at YouTube videos like this. Kudos, because I know some of y'all do that, but I didn't have that kind of, discipline to do that. I just wanted to sit, go to sleep, drink, or put on the TV. I mean, I had a lot of unhealthy habits to funnel that stress from working in a negative, toxic environment. But regardless, even if you do like your W-2 job, if you're making a lot of money, you don't have the time. You don't have the time to learn tax planning. You don't have the time to learn, sufficiently to learn new investment strategies. I devote a large portion of my time to that, because largely so that I can teach you about that, but also, more importantly, so that I manage my own money and I make sure I'm doing things as tax efficiently. I'm making the best investments. I mean, there's all types of things that are changing. There's always unlimited investment opportunities that you can look at. So you just don't have time, right? You just don't have the time, and you probably don't have the mental energy. If you're on the fast track, that needs to be you. I'm not saying do your own tax return. Yes, let your CPA, whoever that is, handle your tax return, whatever. That's not what's important. What we care about is how much tax we're paying, and that's a function of the planning, ideas that you've implemented. So you need to be in the driver's seat of that. You need to be in the driver's seat of managing your money. Do not use a financial advisor. If you are just going to, hand off the reins for your finances when it comes to tax planning and, investing, then, you're going to get really low returns from that, right? You're not going to be able to work with the people who really understand these strategies. And that is largely because the nature of these industries is the people who really understand this stuff aren't working with clients anymore. So that's just kind of the way it works, right? We're living in a much more productized, society. People don't want to work with clients. I used to work with clients, but I don't. I sold that business, years ago. I want no part of that, even though I loved 95% of the clients I worked with. So, you've got to be in the driver's seat for a number of reasons. You've got to be spending a large portion of your time, researching. Think of that as an investment in yourself, learning about watching these types of videos that you're already doing these things. Reading books. I read every single day. I read so many books a year. I love reading. I wish I had time to read more. You got to turn the TV off, and you got to really focus on things that are going to matter. I'm not saying there's not time for the fun stuff and the play, but make sure, most of your day is really spent on the things that matter. And the things that matter, if you're trying to get to financial freedom, largely are going to be, how you're going to invest that money, how you're going to make that money. And you're not ever going to learn that, good from a money manager, or and also how you're going to reduce the taxes you pay on that money. So again, this is a mindset shift. So this is really about how you think about things. You have got to, you can look at this chart and see this is going to require you to make drastic changes to your life. I'm not saying you need to go out and quit your job. Obviously, you need to be smart about what you do. That's what I did. I don't know that I would have done it again that way. I just kind of, I had enough and I quit my job and just went out on my own. And, there's different ways you can do that. But if you want to get serious about achieving financial freedom, and you want to do it before you're too old to really enjoy, and, before you miss out on all those experiences with your children and with your family, then you need to start thinking about how you can change your life and your lifestyle to be in this fast track, because that is the way to do it. There may be exceptions of people who did it other ways, but if you look at the vast majority of people who did it and did it in a way that's sustainable, I've never met somebody that wasn't on this fast track. So, hopefully it's just food for thought for anyone who's, thinking about this, and if this is important to you. But subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of other videos on these types of topics, so you can learn about how you should be making and investing your money.